nakhona sahamba late ke kwakushaya bo9 ngalelo langa lelo kwi-Thursday kungekho umuntu ophumile wasitshela ukuthi uqedile manga intombi zabo zihlezi lapha yakusho ukuthi wayesazobuya azozithatha yathi mayishaya bo past 9 sathi hayi asihambeni sogibelani ngoba labantu abezi sahamba ke sayima taxi sayigibela ithe mase sisimfonela ngakusasa ifoni yakhe angayibambi kanti sizofonela umama wakhe kuyi-Friday sezwa ke ngomama wakhe ukuthi usesibhedlela bamdubulile nga-3 bullet and bamthathele ibag lebekeyiphethe inezinto zakhe zonke mabeceda labafana babaleka.
We went to Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital in Soweto to speak with Margaret about her incident.
Mina nguMargaret Romangai ngihlala ePort Road ngisebenza Capacity under staff ngene 2004 ngo September and then besebenza kahle bekungekho umuntu ojikayo eqaleni singena ama 1 week sisebenza abo Saturday pair kwabuya kweza 2005 sangena 3 sindile kwaza kwaba late sathola ukuthi uswazi athi angeke ize esithathe umuntu ozosithatha sho ukuthi iroster lebasenzele yona manje njengoba sekufika semuntu alimali iroster bayenze thina besazi ukuthi iroster le izoqala ukusebenza nje njengoba bekuyiWednesday so ayisebenzanga le roster ayike sasuka ke ila singale khona sasuka sahamba mase sesihamba ke afike amateksi namateksi zeli besekaphetha amateksi nasakaphetha sengagibela ishawela isithethe ukuthi ngibela iprotein ngagibela ishawela yahamba nami ngafika ngayehla eMangalani mase ngiyehla eMangalani ayehla ngenyawo mase ngiyehla khona ngenyawo ahlangana nabafana ke njengoba
Public transportation in Johannesburg can be very dangerous, especially at night. Yet millions of people living in the townships around the city depend on it to go to work.
Ekusho ukuthi ngaba sengilimele benziwa sengilimele nokufa benzo bangifili mabe ukuthi amlwa ngoba bengikhonile ukuthi ngibambe isibhamu isimambile mara engishayele out 3.
Margaret's problem is typical of how labour brokers ignore worker rights. Here the labour broker has violated the night work provisions of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act and its agreement on a roster with the union. But these are not the only rights that labour brokers undermine.
Those workers that are employed by the labour broker or the temporary employment service are fully protected under South African labour law. So they're protected for rights to organize, rights of fair procedure, of all the sort of basic conditions of employment. So technically they have, rights against unfair, labour practices, etc. They have all those rights as any other employee would.
South Africa has comprehensive labour laws, such as the Labour Relations Act and the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. The Labour Relations Act gives workers the right to join or form trade unions of their choice.
Mr. Rixuche wafike efemeni wathi thina kuyimele siresigna kwi-union esikuyona sijoyina enye i-union wangibizela ofisini kwakuyi-Friday hayi ofisini athi mina mangicabangela abantwana bami mangacabangela abantwana bami sho ukuthi umsebenzi ngizowubuza ukuthi angifuni ukuresign ngisuka ngapha ngena ngapha manje ngathi kuyena mina angina right ukuthi ngiphuma kule ngikuyona mina ngifuna ukuqhubeka kule union engikuyona.
After strike bantu basibizele ofisini ukuthi masuke kule union lesibuyo iGIWUSA si resign then mase si resignile bazoyenza izinto zibe better sisebenze kangcono mase sisukile kule union esinayo ibapha iproblem le union lethu mase nga resign ke sisebenza and makube asifuna ukuresign ngeke size sisebenze sizongena one day and sizoya SSMA 15 times abanamsebenzi ngeke iSSMA bayenzele next bona bayalwa abama good fight into abasiphendula ngayo yi-manager leyakhona uRix uyeke beke sitshela lokho
Mr. Rix masiya ke kanjalo siyombona akusaseyona le case ngisho ukuthi ngile case le yokuthi angisebenzanga right lapha sibizelwa nje ukuthini mele siresign kuJUWISA
ukujoyina abanye uJUWISA They are new people, they have maybe less than 3 to 4 years. So those people who were celebrating that particular pride there, they were at least people with 5 years services. So those management from Capacity, they were telling those people, don't join this particular union called GIWUSA.
But GIWUSA kumele salelo uyekela GIWUSA. But nasebethi ke thina abasasebenzisi ngoba asifuna ukuyekela GIWUSA.
The problem, of course, comes when you try to actually regulate and implement those rights in practice. Because, as we know, labor brokers are simply one step removed from the large employers. So that you may have them included in labor legislation, but increasingly researchers are finding that simply calling them employers doesn't go far enough to protect those workers.
Query mali back-treat issue and then have a book overtime. Capacity iyenzele into eyenza idlale ngabanye abasebenzi because of abanye abantu basaba ukulwela amaqiniso abasaba ukuthi mhlambe angeke bababhuka amalanga amaningi.
Shop stewards are representatives of the union in the workplace. They play a crucial part in making sure the workers' rights are respected. They are the ones who speak on behalf of the workers' grievances, such as intimidation and unfair labour practices.
So my responsibility was to make sure that they comply with the laws that are there for the workers in terms of protecting the workers. So if I find that there is transgression in the side of the company in terms of undermining those laws, so that I'll make sure that I must enforce that law, that I must respect. So then I become a target. A worker also, as much as the workers, the employer, they have a right, and also the workers, they truly have a right. The right to be respected, to treat in a dignified way. Because it doesn't mean that if you are employed, you become like a slave. So the slave the slave is a person that has no say in it whatsoever. You just whatever you say yes to whatever that you have been instructed by your superior. So I think in this time that we are living in, that time is over.